G'day, good evening and welcome to the last show before a nation-defining election, a fork in the road where we will all find out which direction we are headed in. Tonight, state of the race, deep data, hardcore politics. This is about trying to see where the trends are, where they're not, where the fault lines are in all of the different electorates. It's going to get very detailed, but I know you love it, I know you can handle it, and I know we're all looking forward to this thing getting behind us as fast as possible. Now, I've got to say, when it comes to elections, I do have a little bit of a saying that everyone around me gets a little bit bored of saying, and it's a version of a quote that you've heard many times before. But the message is pretty simple. Expect the worst, but hope for a surprise. That way, you are not going to be a blubbering mess if the exact opposite of what you want to happen happens. But there's always a moment where you can say, geez, that was interesting. Thank goodness. This is the feeling that I had in 2019. It's the feeling I had in 2022. And it's the feeling I have going into 2025. 18 million people will make their decision about which way we are going to go as a country. Every piece of data and all information would suggest that we are about to see the re-election of this government. The question is not whether they are re-elected, but will they have their own majority, as they currently do, or will they have to negotiate with somebody else to get the majority, to be in a minority? As for Peter Dutton, he says that the internal polling, the information that he is getting, the same information that was right in 2019, when everyone else was wrong, is telling him that there is a lot more 50-50 bounces of the ball. And yep, they can all go his way or they can all go the other way, but that's his belief about what's happening right now. We know that there has been a massive surge in the support for Pauline Hanson and One Nation all over the country. And that matters because she's been around for 30 years, she hasn't mucked about at all, we all know how she stands, we all know how she feels, and she wants you, if you vote One Nation, to put the Liberal Party second. As I have said, if you are going to go minor party, then you have to choose a government with what you do at number 2. Also, arm yourself with the information. So in the case of One Nation, it is vote.onenation.org.au, or you can go searching for how to vote Labor, how to vote Liberal, how to vote Green, how to vote... OK. But you can go to a website like vote.onenation.org.au. You can get your how to votes. And it doesn't matter whether there's a volunteer there or not. It means you don't have to engage with the people who say, vote for your local doctor, cut immigration, all the stuff that they say as you're walking in. Think of the children. No, you've made your decision, you've got your information. Download a how to vote before you go and vote tomorrow or, of course, on Saturday, where the majority of people will at this election. Meantime, of course, in terms of the things that we've got to talk about here is, again, if those internal polls are correct, then again, we're going to see this quiet Australians effect. We'll all see what happens. As for Albo, and if he wins, well, he's got one hell of a machine around him. In my view, it's going to be one that's built on lies, but if it is what the majority of people have gone for, as Richo says, the mob is always right. Tonight, state of the race. Tonight, Kroger, Conroy, Murray. No one holds back. All of it, hardcore politics tonight on the show. I think we may all not feel great after Saturday, but you'll certainly feel good tonight as we start to get a bit of an indication, including even into the betting markets, about which seats they think are going to be changing at this election. Those blokes in a moment or two's time. All right, as we like to do at the start of each and every show, 2 days to go. We've basically been on an election footing since the start of the year. The super long campaign is almost over. As according to the Australian Electoral Commission, 5.4 million people have already voted. Now, I thought that we were on our way towards half of all people voting. There's 18 million people on the register, so that'd be 9 million. We are well short of that. Let's add another million once today's numbers come in, because this is all a bit of a lagging number. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the 9 million, which means there's sort of 2 election campaigns. There's the one that crests the 2 weeks before in order for early voting, and then there is the one that goes all the way up to election day. When it comes to the locations that have been voting early, the seat of Griffith, which is currently held by the Greens, has the most number of people turning up to one of their pre-poll locations. Bowman, Dawson and Fadden, all LNP seats in Queensland. Werriwa, which again, on a good night for Libs is competitive, but whether the polls are correct that things have gone back Labor's way in New South Wales means something's going on there, that there's a certain amount of vote that's being banked there. Maybe people are a bit sick of how many door knocks they are getting. In Flinders, in Victoria, a Liberal Party seat. In Macon, in South Australia, a Labor Party seat. Capricornia in Queensland, as well as Herbert in Queensland, both with the LNP, and Gorton. So it's roughly 50-50, but a little bit more when it comes to the LNP, but certainly massive overrepresentation of Queensland. Who knows which way they are going to vote? Now, there's another little factor here that I need to tell you about, which is there are about 3 million postal votes. Now, these will not be automatically counted on election night. You are able to make sure that it is posted by pardon me, election day, and then, yes, there's a couple of days for the mail to get there, but put simply, you basically have to have it in the mail by Friday, but there's 3 million votes on top of all of those others. So maybe we can start to say about that 9 million number, but the postal number is about 3. Now, the pre-poll votes, they all get counted on Saturday night. The postal votes, some, and then there's that little bit of a lag. Remember, because we live in a bizarre system, there's not a lot of counting. In fact, I don't think there's any counting on the Sunday, but I'll double check for you before I'm done. So we have to wait a few days. So there will be places like previously, Bennelong at the previous election, Herbert a couple of elections ago, although Herbert is certainly a strong LNP territory now with the great Philip Thompson. There, a great hope of the side and a great future. Very much front row performer for the LNP. He's a wonderful bloke. He's turned what was a couple of hundred seat majority for the Labor Party into a big thumping lead for himself. There's no expectation there will be anything but that in and around Townsville. But let's have a look at where people have asked for the postal vote. Now, this, of course, could be for a whole collection of reasons, but put simply, this is a lot of people, say, nursing homes, disability, meaning they can't go to the polls. Now, I went and had a look at this today, that in a lot of these seats, you can see that quite a few Labor, quite a few LNP, a lot more in Victoria, kind of a 50-50 game between Victoria and Queensland there. You can see that already half of the postal votes in Cornwall, in Bonner, in Dunkley, in Aston have all been returned, along with Deakin and Casey. There's still more than half of the postal vote to come in Blair, in Goldstein, in Fadden and in McEwen. Again, I appreciate that the AEC updates these numbers each and every day. So, again, on election day, we'll have a bit more of a picture about just how much is out there, apart from what has happened early. That, of course, all happens on the day. When you go to the local school, democracy sausage, all the rest of it, that's all on the day. Postal's a little bit of a bleed. After the election, and we'll be able to start to do the numbers on all of that. There are some big and complicated computers that do all of that, which means Tom Connell is able to make the call, and he is best in the business.